Welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. I'm a stroke survivor, and I am disabled, even though I don't look like it. And today I want to talk about how we respond when somebody asks, "How can I help?" I never even thought this through before, but somebody brought it up today in one of my meetings, and I actually had heard something about this recently. Actually, I was researching, I think, for one of my episodes and ran across something that had some advice for how to answer that when somebody asks if they can help you. Or I guess the other way around, how do we offer help to somebody who is in need, in recovery, not feeling well, has COVID, something like that. So anyway, that's what this episode is about. But since it is July 1st, the first of the month, I wanted to introduce the July book and the July listener challenge. So the July book of the month is called Educated. It's called Educated, a memoir, and it's by Tara Westover. And the narrator is Julia Whelan. That's why I picked it, because I like that narrator and I have to listen to it instead of reading it. So, but this had good reviews, and I was in the mood for more of a fiction. I needed a break from all this self-help stuff, I think. So this is what it's about. Born to survivalists in the mountains of Idaho, Tara Westover was 17 the first time she set foot in a classroom. Her family was so isolated from mainstream society that there was no one to ensure the children received an education and no one to intervene when one of Tara's older brothers became violent. When another brother got himself into college, Tara decided to try a new kind of life. Her quest for knowledge transformed her, taking her over oceans and across continents to Harvard and to Cambridge University. Only then would she wonder if she'd traveled too far, if there was still a way home. So it is not a fictional book. But anyway, I think what I meant was I'm looking for something like a story instead of like self-help. So that is the July book. So again, it's called Educated, a Memoir by Tara Westover. And July listener challenge. So first of all, how did you do for your healthy habits challenge? Take some time to pat yourself on the back and remember that even though the goal was 30 days, if you just did your healthy habit one time this month, it is better than you would have done had you not even tried. So no matter what, pat yourself on the back. If you didn't do anything, well, you're just lazy. So what did I do? I added a new stretching routine. So you lifetime listeners know that I have quite a few things I do before I go to bed. I do 10 push-ups a night. I do a plank, and I do stretches. And I also have some other stuff that I do. But I added some additional stretches. I've been having a terrible time with my back. So I added some stretches that the chiropractor gave me. And I've been trying to work with the TENS machine. I did it earlier today. So I just need to be consistent. So I am consistent with my new additional stretching routine before bed. But I do need to start adding that TENS machine every single day. So I'm going to try to do that. But I also added reading. I've been trying to read more on paper. So that has been, I think, good. I'm starting to get more comfortable. A lot of the stuff that I'm implementing in my recovery, it's debatable whether it's getting easier because I'm practicing or it's getting easier because when I do it, I get more comfortable. Like, I don't know if it's anxiety or it's actually getting better. So anyway, regardless, I have good and bad days with reading, but I do it anyway, right? I turn off my monitor, do it anyway. So those were my healthy habits. I hope you had a successful time at implementing whatever healthy habit that you added to your life. So, to the July listener challenge, I'm kind of excited about this one, and it's going to be a challenge for me, I think, because I don't get out much. I do go walk the dog, so I do have a chance. But here it is. July's listener challenge is to say hello to a stranger every day. If they want to talk to you more, fine. If you want to talk and say more than just hello, fine. But just try it. Every day you have a victim and you are going to practice saying hello to a stranger. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is say hello. And I'm interested to hear how it changes you on the inside over the course of 30 days. It may seem uncomfortable if you're not somebody who does that normally. It may seem a little uncomfortable in the beginning. But I did start doing that. I think it was when I moved here, which was about 4 years ago. I was like, I don't know anybody. So I just started saying hi, even when people weren't looking at me. I would just go, hello. And they kind of like looked up at me like, oh, hi, and I actually made a new friend. Since then, I don't see that lady anymore. But I made a good enough friend that I got invited to her dog's first birthday party with my dog. But I don't see her anymore because her dog became unfriendly. So I don't see her anymore. Anyway, so that's the deal. And why is this a listener challenge? Why is this good for our well-being? Because it builds social confidence, and many people struggle with social anxiety or a lack of confidence. Some people walk around with their head down. This is to try to encourage you to lift your head up, make eye contact with people, and it just happens to be such a quick interaction that it's easier for me. This is my experience. It's easy to get comfortable doing it because it's not like you're trying to make small talk with anybody. You're just saying hello. And then you never know, you might end up making a friend like I did. This will possibly improve your mental health because you may find yourself actually talking to more people. You're not isolating so much if you happen to be an isolator. So you may feel like not so lonely or not so depressed. It could be a mood booster. Maybe you'll even get a shot of happy chemicals, some oxytocin, which can enhance your mood and reduce your stress levels. It also is a way of practicing mindfulness. So if you are somebody, I am, who walks around and the world is going on out around you, but yet you are only engaging in the world going on inside your head. You're not really being mindful. You're not present. So this will almost act like a magnet to like um, keep you in tune to the people around you, be a little more aware of your surroundings. And it is an act of kindness to just say hello to somebody. I stopped the other day. It must have been like maybe 3 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, I was walking by one of the neighbors' houses, and there's usually the guy is out there watering the flowers. And on this day, the woman was out there. And she was like on her front stoop and she was, I don't know, rearranging, doing something. I'm not quite sure what she was doing. She had her hands in the flowers. And I was walking Autumn and I stopped and I said, I just want to tell you that your flowers are so pretty. I noticed before you guys moved in how different the flowers were, how different your flower garden was before you moved in, and you've really done a great job. So, and it's the truth. I remember walking by that house. It was a rental before they moved in, and I was like, oh, I could really have at it at that person's garden. And then this couple moved in, and it looks really beautiful. So I stopped and told her that. And I love doing that. I'm particularly fond of stopping and telling people that I like their gardens because I truly mean it. And sometimes I learn something from them. Sometimes they just are flattered and they look up at me, and it really does. I mean, I can see their eyes light up. And I've told you guys about that before. There's been several people in the neighborhood that I have stopped and told them that I appreciate walking by their house because their garden is so beautiful. So, you don't have to do all that. You just have to say hello. So give it a try. Not a hello to somebody you know, hello to a stranger. You may find that somebody doesn't say hello back, and just remind yourself that there might be a reason why they're not saying hi back, and it might not be because they're not a nice person. And I had learned, I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but I had learned that there's an older man down the street who I have been trying for years to say hello to this guy, and either he doesn't say hello or he doesn't look up. And there was one time I was walking by him and he said hello, and I just was like super flattered. Well, I found out a couple days ago that he's deaf, that he only reads lips. That's why he didn't say hello, because he didn't hear me. He didn't know I was saying hello. So now I know. Anyway, keep that in mind, because this is not an opportunity um, to get resentful towards strangers. It's just an opportunity to just work on that, engaging with other people and hopefully improving our mental and emotional well-being. So today I want to talk about how we respond when somebody asks, how can I help? And that is when you are in recovery, as some of us are, or even if you're just sick, if you've got COVID, the flu, something like that, or you're just not feeling good, which is fair enough, right? There are some days that you're just like, I feel terrible today. And there's a guy in one of my morning meetings. At the end of the meeting, he said, I would love it if in a meeting soon we can talk about that, because he said that he has had people ask him, how can I help? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know how somebody can help me. So knowing how to answer that question, being prepared to answer that question, um, will probably help your relationship with that person. So if you're in recovery, you're dealing with an illness, or you're just feeling unwell, it's very common for our friends and family and our colleagues, our bosses, to ask how they can help. And this is really a blessing. I'm smiling because you some of you know I had an episode about blessings. um, and it can be a challenge. Like knowing how to answer this question effectively can actually give you support that you need, but you need to be prepared for that. You need to figure out what support you may need. And I don't think we do that. I certainly don't. I'm always thinking about um, taking care of myself. I'm always trying to be so independent, but it's important to think about how others can help you, because this is a way that we don't really think about a lot, that we can feel more connected, and it can help the people around us feel more connected and useful. So be of service to them by letting them help you. So it starts off, and this is what I've heard over and over, is to be specific about your needs. So like when people ask, what can I do for you? I think I normally say, oh, I don't know. I really don't even ask for anything. Um, General things like oh, just be there for me, is it can be hard when you give that kind of response for somebody to actually do it. It's hard to create an action out of, oh, just be there for me. What does that mean? Right? So I've thought this through, and one thing that I would be helpful for me, and I've started to respond to people when they ask me how they can help, is call me. Like I try to call one person on the phone a day, and I'm not successful on some days, and that's all right. But call me on the phone. Don't text me, call me on the phone, or come visit me. Those are really the best ways. Sorry, my back is hurting as usual. Um, those are the best ways to help me. I've noticed I really need social interaction. If I sometimes I need help, like, oh, I could really use a ride to my hairdresser, you know. So look at my calendar for the month and think and see, like, where might I actually need some help, some logistical support. Like maybe if somebody's offering help, I could say, you know what, it would be great if you could drive me to uh my vestibular therapy appointment and give my husband a break. So I think it's important to think that stuff through. Think about how somebody else can help us. And I don't usually do that. So this is a good reminder for me to take a look at my calendar for July and see, are there places where maybe I can offload some stuff from my husband if somebody were to ask if there's some way that they can help me this month. So I'm going to do that. And number two would be to make sure to express gratitude. So even when you're prepared to be answering, you want to first of all say, thank you so much for offering. I appreciate your willingness to help. It's okay if you don't know how to answer and say, I'm going to think about it and I'll let you know what I need most. I'll get back to you. That for me feels a little more awkward because I don't want to have to call the person back and be like, hey, remember you offered to help me? Well, now I know I'm going to need you to bake me a cake. It's easier to like be prepared before somebody asks you. And so express gratitude for them asking. And for me, I like being prepared for how to answer. So next would be sometimes people may offer help that is not quite what you need, or it may feel a bit intrusive. That sounds rude, but it's very possible that people might want to come visit too much. Like for me, that's not a problem I'm having where people want to visit me too much. But if that were the case, um, I need to express that boundary, thank you. I appreciate the offer to come visit me, but I already have a visitor this week and I can only have one per week because I have to recover. So making sure that you're very, very specific about what your boundaries are and be, of course, polite, but firm, let people know that this is the way that I have to handle my recovery. I've also had instances where I've been offered, somebody would offer to do some sort of logistics for my recovery. And I don't need the help. Like I can do it. You never know, like some days I do need help, like researching on the internet because I can't browse the internet. A lot of times I ask ChatGPT for the answer, but there are some times that ChatGPT is not what I need. I need an actual person to look and peruse the internet and find an answer for me. But then there are other days, right, that I don't need that. If somebody says, well, I'll research that for you. I need to practice like saying, I'm going to try to handle this part on my own right now, but I really appreciate the offer, right? Thanks for wanting to help me, but I I'm going to need I don't know. I'm going to need some time to process this on my own, and then I'll reach back out to you if there's something you can help me with. Just the reason why I'm like trying to say that you really need to be specific and fill in as many, pieces of gratitude and specifics about what you want is because I tend to be so like blowing things off. I'm very much, those of you who know me really, really well know that I will blow things off a lot to the point where I think it's annoying to some people that I'm like, it's no big deal. When things are a big deal, kind of like my stroke that I was like, it's fine. I have a stroke, but it was actually a big deal. So that's why I'm like trying to encourage you to say as much as possible to be really clear about what it is that you want and being prepared to answer that. So involve people in your activities. So I could very much say if somebody wants to help me and I don't have anything going on for this month, I don't have any doctor's appointments this month or something like that. I can have some standby things like, I would love it if you could come and we could walk autumn together. Like I've had a couple people come visit me and we have walked my one block together. Although the problem is I end up walking more than a block when I have somebody with me, but it's not a problem. I tend to go overboard, but I really like it. And I need to continue to practice self-restraint. Or if, I could say I'm really interested in going to an in-person sobriety meeting. I could ask for that. I would love to make donuts. If you could help me find a recipe for vegan donuts, that would be awesome. Sometimes it's not the fact that I can't find the recipe myself, but it's somebody wanting to be involved in my recovery. And I think it's important to allow them to share this with me because it strengthens my relationship with them. If I keep closing people out, which I will do sometimes when I start isolating and feeling sorry for myself, I'll just stop calling people. I'll stop asking for people to come visit or, something like that. And that's just it's isolating me, really. Um, so I think the biggest thing about this is communicating openly. Um, if I have a need one day and then it changes because I don't feel well, that's totally okay. And I can tell people that today has been tough and I need to take a nap. So I have a plan to have somebody take me to the, I don't know, the nail salon or something like that. Um, and I wake up and I don't feel good. It's okay to say, I'm not going to be able to do that today. And it's also fine if I feel an extra need for some company. It's fine to give somebody a call and say, I'm not feeling well and I really could use some company. Um, I'm feeling better today, but uh, I really need help with XYZ. You know what I mean? So, um, just being really specific, being really grateful for somebody wanting to be involved in your recovery, someone wanting to be involved in your life, even if you're not in recovery. I think that it's really something to sit down and spend some time thinking about. Like, how can we welcome people into our lives in a way um, that will nurture our relationships and make us, it's almost like planning for the future, like if I look at my July schedule and think about, well, here are several things that I could use some help with this month. Um, there's something I want to do. I'm making terrariums. I told you about that. By the way, the maple syrup terrarium, epic failure. I had to throw it out. I was making a log cabin out of sticks and putting it in there with my little tweezers and stuff. But note to self, you cannot use super glue and glue the stuff together and put it inside a small bottle because it just fogged up the bottle because it's like a chemical. And I think that the glue and the moss and the water, all of that sharing the same air, it didn't work. So there you go. So I still have another terrarium. Okay, I'll show it to you. Here it is. For those of you who are watching the video, it is hard to see, but yeah, there's reflections. But anyway, it's and the reflection is of my script for the podcast. But as I turn it around, you can kind of see it. It is a bunch of, it's supposed to represent a natural staircase that a hiker would be hiking up. And I've reached out to my dad and I'm asking him to help me get some little miniature scale hiker people. So what I wanted to do is, since I can't travel, I wanted to recreate different places inside these terrariums and put a little hiker inside it. And the little hiker's me. Isn't that cute? Yeah, one of my many ideas. Anyway, so yeah, I totally went on a tangent there. But so back to like, how can people help me? I asked my dad, you could really help me by helping me find some little tiny hikers. You know, there's always opportunities to ask people for help. And for me, the most engagement that I can get with people, the better. You know, I have a goal to call somebody per day, one person per day. Like, who does that? I don't know if other people do that, but that's how desperate I am for socialization. So I think that this is a really good topic for people who are in recovery, people who are isolating, and you're not quite sure. You want to know how to answer, like you want to accept help, but you just don't know how. Take some time, think about what ways somebody else could engage in your life, because you're not only helping yourself, but you are probably spreading a little bit of happiness their way by letting them be of service, because that always can be very meaningful and impactful to other people to support you. So that's what I've got today. Thank you for joining me on the Recovery Daily podcast, and I will talk to you soon.